A teenager detained for planning attacks here in Singapore. The self-radicalised student also wanted to establish a caliphate here. A terrorism expert says open communication with youths, within families and the community is an integral part of preventing self-radicalisation.
And that's especially the case when access to religious information online is so easily available. She urges people to report loved ones to the authorities, even if it hurts.
The people that realize this first are often enough the closest networks. So in this case, the friends, the family, the friends that are around them. And often enough, the challenge is them thinking that I do not want to tell on them. I do not want to create a problem. Maybe in this case, the idea of looking at the individual and saying that the situation may not escalate. The assessment that the situation may not escalate is not something that the immediate family members or friends around them may see. Certainly, it's in the safety of not only themselves, but the broader community, where when you're looking at online radicalization, the escalation timeframe is very short, and certainly it is shortening.
Tan Soo Hui has been covering this story all day, and she joins us here in the studio. Soo Hui, thanks for joining us. Just want to get your thoughts on what the minister mentioned earlier this morning. He said, having this number of younger offenders being picked up is quite a concerning trend. I think the number was 9 since 2015. Tell us more about that.
Exactly. So 9 youths since 2015. They're all males and they've been acting as lone wolves. 6 of them were detained by the ISA. The others were given restriction orders, and this means that certain restrictions, certain movements will be restricted. Now, apart from Irfan, the other 2, one of them was just 16 years old and he wanted to plan attacks against Muslims at 2 mosques, and the other wanted to stab and have knife attacks on Jews, and that's because he was inspired by the Israel-Palestine conflict. So it's extremely worrying because over the last 2 years, there were 3 youths who were harboring such thoughts and planning to commit such acts. And so the authorities are very concerned about this, but there is also a silver lining because all of them have undergone detention. They've also reintegrated into society, and all of them actually have gained employment and also furthered their education. So they reintegrated in society and really gained a new meaning in their lives.
Yeah, so that's the goal, to get these individuals to reintegrate back into society successfully. So tell us a little bit more about the detention process as it stands and specifically what rehabilitation is all about. Because we heard Mr. Shanmugam say earlier that it's not the end of the road for them. We still want them to fulfill their potential.
Right, so radicalized youths like Irfan, he will be undergoing detention. He will be undergoing some kind of religious counseling as well as psychological and social rehab. But the main thing is that it's not the end for them. Home Affairs Minister, he talked about how he wants to ensure that they make meaningful of the rest of their lives and that it will be a fresh start in life for all of them.
Yeah, like an opportunity, essentially. That's what they're going for.
And some of them have even, studied behind bars and gotten some good results.
Exactly.
So exactly what you're saying about sort of getting their lives on track and all that. And that also underscores why, the community should look at it as not like a death knell, so to speak, but an opportunity to help. And in that sense, how does the community, perform that role?
So as you mentioned, for Irfan, he will be undergoing detention, but he will also be continuing his education, and it's not the end. He will also take his exams during detention. But it's really the role of the community, the mosque. They will be teaching youths about the different religions. It's not just about Islam, it's also about Christianity, about Hinduism, and to really espouse values about a multiracial society, and also, of course, the role of schools, really to teach the young about the dangers of radicalization and also, especially consumption of online material that can be quite dangerous. Also, family, the support of family is also extremely crucial for a person's journey back to reintegrate into society. So these are the three main points that I think Mr. Shanmugam has mentioned as well in his speech earlier, that is really important, because it's not just the government's role, it's the community's role as well.
And it's quite difficult, isn't it? Because, when you're at home and you have a teenager, where do you draw the line between, this person is, just being angsty versus, someone who harbors some real sinister intentions.
Ambitions and so on.
But yeah, I think the expert we heard from earlier really underscored why it's important to really sound the alarm, even if you're not quite sure about where that's headed. But Suhui, thanks for joining us this evening and sharing your insights with us. We've been speaking there with Tan Suhui, senior journalist with CNA. Now, a Muslim leader, a youth leader, in fact, says more guidance is needed for youths consuming online content, especially with the vast amount of information that's available online.
Well, he says that teenagers can seek advice from trusted individuals when navigating the net.
The online content nowadays, there's no filter. It's unsolicited, it's unregulated. So when you present too much information, there is not really much control. So how can we help these youth in terms of absorbing the right content to ensure that they don't deviate into the wrong path? They could seek advice with trusted individuals, such as their family or religious teachers under the Asatiza recognition scheme. I think as a community, we can come together to actually look out for one another. So, we remain vigilant to the signs of radicalisation in the community, so that we can intervene early to avert such a tragedy from happening again.